The 9 magnetic personality traits. 1. Calmness in chaos. A calm mind draws others in. When everything around you is loud and frantic, your stillness is comforting, even powerful. People feel safer near someone who isn't easily shaken. 2. Emotional discipline. You don't repress your emotions, but you're not a slave to them either. You feel deeply, yet you respond, not react. That control is rare, and rare is attractive. 3. Genuine presence. You're not waiting to speak. You're actually listening. You're not distracted. When you're with someone, they feel seen. That level of presence is magnetic. 4. Non-neediness. You're whole on your own. You don't chase validation, love, or approval. Ironically, that self-containment draws people to you, because you're not trying to take anything from them. 5. Quiet confidence. You don't need to flex or boast. Your confidence comes from lived experience, not fantasy. People can feel when you truly know yourself, and they're drawn to it. 6. Purpose-driven energy. You have direction, a why behind your steps. Not because someone told you what to want, but because you've chosen your path. Purpose shines through your eyes. It's magnetic. 7. Self-respect and boundaries. You're kind, but not a pushover. You can say no without guilt. People respect those who respect themselves first. 8. Gratitude without attachment. You appreciate what you have, but you're not owned by it. You enjoy things, people, moments, but you can let them go. That detachment mixed with appreciation is rare and deeply attractive. 9. Integrity. You do what you say. You live what you believe. There's no mask. And when people sense that alignment, they trust you. And trust is the foundation of attraction. There is a presence some people carry that seems untouched by the chaos around them. While others panic, complain, or grasp for control, this kind of person remains still, anchored, deliberate, unshaken. Their calm is not naive, nor is it passive. It is earned, forged through the practice of observing rather than reacting, of choosing how to respond rather than letting the world decide for them. In moments of uncertainty, most people look outward. They scan the environment for safety, for reassurance, for signs of stability. But the calm person does the opposite. They go inward. They understand that the world will always carry a degree of unpredictability. Markets will crash, people will disappoint, plans will dissolve. Life does not owe anyone peace, so they do not rely on the external to bring them internal steadiness. Instead, they cultivate it within themselves. This kind of calm is not showy. It doesn't need to be. There's no need for loud declarations of control, no need to pretend everything is okay. The power is in the silence, in the subtle confidence that says, I can handle whatever this is. And that assurance, more than any words or actions, becomes a magnetic force. People are naturally drawn to those who can stay steady when things fall apart, because it reminds them that it's possible for them too. 2. What separates these calm individuals from others is not the absence of fear or emotion. They feel all of it. They're human, but they've developed a pause between stimulus and response. In that space they think, they observe, they ask, what is mine to control here? And then they act, or they choose not to. But whatever they do, it is intentional, not impulsive. This is not about suppressing emotions or pretending to be unaffected. That's not calmness. That's denial dressed as control. True calm allows emotions to rise, to exist, but not to dominate. Anger may come, but it doesn't dictate. Fear may knock, but it doesn't get to steer. The calm person sees their feelings clearly, like waves crashing at the shore, but they do not mistake the waves for the ocean. There is something deeply attractive about someone who does not need the world to be perfect in order to be okay. Their energy doesn't spike with every inconvenience. They don't crumble when things don't go their way. There's a trust in their own capacity to meet life as it is, not as they wish it were. And that trust becomes contagious. In their presence, you find yourself breathing slower, thinking clearer, speaking less and meaning more. Calm people tend to carry a certain slowness in the best sense of the word. They're not rushing to be first, not racing to be loudest. They don't need to prove they're right or that they matter. There's a deep security in knowing that who you are is enough without the performance. That kind of energy settles a room because it's rare. In a world of reactions, their stillness stands out, not like a shout, but like silence in a noisy room, unmistakable. They also don't argue with reality. When something unexpected happens, they don't waste energy wishing it didn't. They ask, "What now?" Not with resignation, but with readiness. That adaptability makes them strong, not brittle strength that breaks under pressure, but fluid strength that bends and reshapes, like water moving through stone. What's powerful is that anyone can develop this kind of calm. It's not something you're born with. It's something you choose over and over. In small moments, when someone cuts you off, when your plans fall apart, when a loved one says something sharp, you have a choice: to react in kind or to hold your center, to add fuel to the fire or to be the space that cools it. Each moment becomes a practice ground, not for perfection, but for presence. This kind of calm doesn't remove you from the world. It lets you show up more fully, because when you are not ruled by panic or ego, you see more clearly, you listen more deeply, you speak only when needed, and when you do, people pay attention, not because you demanded it, but because your words come from a place of grounded truth. That's why calmness in chaos is magnetic. It isn't just a trait. It's a form of quiet leadership. It invites others into a space where control is no longer a performance, but a way of being. A stillness that says, "I am here, I am enough, and this moment, whatever it is, will not define me." Emotional discipline is not about becoming emotionless. It's about becoming unshakable in the presence of emotion. It is the art of holding fire without letting it burn everything down. It's the quiet strength of someone who feels the full weight of anger, sadness, fear, or excitement, and yet chooses not to be ruled by any of it. To have emotional discipline is to understand that emotions are not the problem. They're signals. They arise from within us in response to the world. Sometimes accurately, sometimes irrationally, but they are not orders. They don't have to be obeyed. The undisciplined mind confuses feeling with fact, reaction with response. It believes that anger justifies cruelty, that sadness demands withdrawal, that fear requires retreat. But the disciplined mind listens first. It observes the emotion and asks, "Is this useful? Is this true? Is this how I want to show up right now?" People often mistake emotional discipline for repression, but they are not the same. Repression is the refusal to feel. Discipline is the willingness to feel fully, without being owned by what you feel. It's standing in the storm without being swept away by it. The one who represses emotion avoids discomfort. The one who practices discipline moves through it, slowly, mindfully, intentionally. It's easy to be kind when you're not upset. It's easy to make good choices when life is smooth. But discipline shows itself in tension, in the heat of a moment when someone disrespects you, when you're misunderstood, when the world feels unfair. That's when the real work begins. To pause, to breathe, to choose. Not because you're weak, but because your strength is greater than your impulse. A person with emotional discipline doesn't react to everything. They don't allow the outside world to control their inner state. They're not slaves to provocation. They can be insulted without needing revenge. They can hear hard truths without crumbling or lashing out. That doesn't mean they're indifferent. It means they've trained themselves to respond with clarity instead of chaos. There's something quietly powerful about a person who doesn't flinch under pressure, who doesn't spiral when plans change or people disappoint them. Their emotions may rise, but they don't drown in them. They acknowledge the emotion, sit with it, and then decide how to proceed. Not perfectly, but intentionally. And that intention creates trust. When you speak with someone who has emotional discipline, you feel safe, because you know they're not going to explode or collapse just because something didn't go their way. This kind of discipline creates freedom. When you no longer act on every emotion, you become harder to manipulate. You're no longer reactive to other people's moods, praise, or judgment. You can be steady even when others are spiraling. You can lead, listen, and act with integrity, because your internal state is not at the mercy of the external world. It's also not about being cold. People with emotional discipline often feel more deeply, not less. But they don't weaponize their emotions, and they don't wear them like armor. They hold space for what they feel, but they move through it. They don't turn pain into bitterness. They don't use anger to dominate. They don't let sadness make them passive. They channel what they feel into thoughtful action. Their emotions become fuel, not fire. Discipline with emotion also means not chasing emotional highs, not needing constant validation or drama or intensity just to feel alive. It's the ability to be at peace with stillness, to find fulfillment in the quiet middle, not just in extremes. Many people live in cycles of emotional addiction, chasing highs, crashing into lows, and calling it passion. But true peace comes when you're no longer addicted to intensity, when your mood isn't dictated by someone else's presence or absence, when you don't need chaos to feel something. This kind of inner regulation is not natural. It's practiced, learned, refined. It takes awareness, humility, and repetition. You fail, you try again. You react, you reflect, you adjust. Slowly, you learn to catch yourself in that gap between emotion and action. And in that space, you start to reclaim your life, not as a reaction to the world, but as a conscious creation. A person with emotional discipline lives with less regret, because they don't say things they didn't mean in the heat of the moment. They don't burn bridges just to feel powerful. They don't make decisions they have to walk back later. Their restraint is not fear, it's clarity. They've realized that power is not in domination or eruption, but in self-control. And in that self-control, they create a life that is rooted, resilient, and deeply attractive to others. Not because they're trying to impress, but because peace is always magnetic. There's something almost magical about the person who is genuinely present. In a world that pulls people in 1,000 directions, where distractions are constant and attention spans short, a person who is fully engaged in the moment stands out. But genuine presence is more than just being physically there. It is a deep, intentional engagement with the current moment, an awareness that nothing else matters while you're in the space with someone else. We live in a time when many people are preoccupied with their own thoughts, phones, or future concerns. Their bodies may be in one place, but their minds are elsewhere. The words they speak are often disconnected from the present, rehearsed or distracted. But the person with genuine presence does not allow their mind to wander. They give their full attention, not because they're trying to impress, but because they truly understand that every interaction is a fleeting opportunity to connect, to be understood, and to understand. It's not about saying the right things or constantly performing. It's about listening, observing, and feeling the weight of the moment. This presence comes from a place of deep calm, as if the person has made peace with the fact that this moment, this conversation, this exchange of energy is enough. They're not trying to get something out of it. They're allowing it to unfold naturally. A truly present person doesn't rush through interactions. They are not in a hurry to get to the next task, the next conversation, or the next part of their day. Time slows in their company because they are not focused on the clock. They are focused on you. Every word you speak holds weight. Every gesture is noticed. They read the subtle cues of body language, the pauses in your speech, the emotions behind your words. They understand that listening is not just hearing, but absorbing what is being said, understanding it fully, and responding accordingly. This level of attention requires discipline. It is not easy to stay fully engaged, especially in a world full of interruptions. It demands the ability to quiet the mind, to not get swept up in the noise around you, and to silence the internal chatter that constantly pulls us away from the present moment. But the person who practices genuine presence knows that to truly engage with another, they must be mentally and emotionally free from distraction. They must choose to focus on the other person, not just out of politeness, but out of respect for the shared moment. In this stillness, something rare happens. People feel seen and heard in a way that is not common. In a world of half-hearted interactions, genuine presence offers something rare, the gift of real connection. The person with genuine presence creates a space where others feel safe to be themselves. There is no judgment, no pretense, no expectation of a performance. In their presence, you don't have to prove anything. You don't have to hurry to fill the silence or to measure up. You simply are, and that is enough. The power of genuine presence is that it's magnetic. It draws people in, not because they are looking for validation, but because they sense a rare authenticity. People are naturally drawn to those who give their full attention, who engage with them without distractions, who are willing to meet them where they are. It's as if, in that moment, the person with genuine presence is the anchor in a sea of turbulence, offering calm amidst the storm. It's also deeply humbling to witness, because when someone is truly present, they are not making the moment about themselves. They don't seek to dominate the conversation or shift the focus onto their own experiences. They allow the other person to express themselves fully, holding space for that expression with patience and respect. There is a quiet confidence in this. The person with genuine presence doesn't need to control the situation. They trust that by simply being there, fully engaged, they are creating something meaningful. This presence extends beyond words. It is in the way they show up physically, emotionally, and mentally. It's in the way they give you their undivided attention when you speak, the way their eyes stay focused on yours, the way they listen without interruption. It's in the way they read the room, sensing what's left unspoken, noticing the subtle emotions at play that others may miss. They understand that presence is not just about listening, it's about understanding. It's about connecting on a deeper level, beyond words. To be truly present requires vulnerability. It requires letting go of the need to control or manipulate the moment, to bend it to one's own desires or expectations. It asks that you show up as you are, without masks, without performance. and it asks that you see the other person for who they truly are, without judgment or assumptions. It is a gift that requires humility, the humility to listen without an agenda, to give without expecting anything in return, and to simply be there, in the moment. Those who have mastered the art of genuine presence do not need to impress. Their power lies in the simple act of being fully there. It is this presence, more than anything else, that draws people in and makes them feel understood. Because when you are truly present with someone, you are telling them, you are important, you are worthy of my time, in this moment. Nothing else matters more than this connection. And in a world full of distractions, that message is rare and deeply, profoundly attractive. Non-neediness is one of the most magnetic qualities a person can possess. It's the ability to stand on your own, to be whole and complete without relying on anyone or anything to validate your worth or define your happiness. The essence of non-neediness lies in the recognition that you are not empty. You do not need to constantly seek external approval, love, or affirmation to feel secure in who you are. Instead, you are content and self-sufficient, knowing that your worth is inherent, not dependent on what others think of you, or whether they meet your needs. At first glance, non-neediness might be mistaken for aloofness or indifference. People may think that someone who doesn't seek out constant validation or attention is distant or uninterested. But the reality is that non-neediness is a deeply rooted confidence that emanates from within. It is not about rejecting others or pushing them away. It's about understanding that you are not defined by their presence or absence. You don't need anyone to complete you, because you are already whole. This kind of self-assurance doesn't come from arrogance. It's not the belief that you are better than others, but the quiet knowing that you are good enough as you are. When you are comfortable in your own skin, you don't feel the urge to chase after people or experiences in a desperate attempt to fill some internal void. You don't bend over backward to seek approval or to make people like you. Instead, you let things unfold naturally, trusting that those who are meant to be in your life will show up without the need for manipulation, control, or desperation. The power of non-neediness lies in its simplicity. When you are not constantly seeking to meet your own needs through others, you are free. You are free to give love without expectation, to form connections without attachment, to lead without the pressure of needing to be followed. You engage with the world around you from a place of abundance, not scarcity. You know that you are enough, and because of that, you are able to show up in relationships and situations with an open heart, without fear of rejection or loss. Non-neediness allows you to be fully present, without anxiety or desperation. You don't need to constantly check your phone for messages, or seek constant affirmation from others. You don't live in a state of constant anticipation or worry, wondering if someone will call or whether you're being noticed. Instead, you live in the moment, fully engaged in the present without any agenda or ulterior motive. This relaxed, unforced energy is incredibly attractive because it's rare. In a world where so many people are constantly trying to gain approval, climbing ladders of success or popularity, or scrambling to find fulfillment in others, those who are genuinely non-needy stand out. One of the most significant benefits of non-neediness is that it gives you the freedom to choose who you spend time with and what you invest in. Because you don't need anyone to validate your sense of self-worth, you are able to form connections based on mutual respect, shared values, and genuine interest. You no longer have to settle for relationships or situations that drain you. because you are not dependent on them for your happiness. You are in a position of power, not because you dominate others, but because you are not reliant on anyone to fill your emotional gaps. You choose your relationships and commitments freely, based on what aligns with your values and desires, not out of fear or need. When you are non-needy, you are also able to navigate conflict with grace. You are not afraid of confrontation or disagreement, because your sense of self-worth is not tied to the opinions of others. If someone challenges you or disagrees with you, you don't crumble or react defensively. Instead, you remain calm, open, and self-assured. You can stand your ground, express your feelings, and listen to others without being emotionally thrown off course. Your emotions are your own to manage, and you do not need others to behave in a certain way to make you feel okay. This emotional independence is incredibly attractive, as it signals strength and maturity. Non-neediness also allows you to be free from manipulation. When you don't need others to fill your emotional needs, you are not as vulnerable to being controlled or influenced by their actions. You are not swayed by flattery or false promises. You don't fall into the trap of people pleasing because you don't fear rejection. You don't settle for less than what you deserve because you are not afraid of being alone. This sense of inner strength and independence makes you much more resilient and emotionally stable, even in the face of challenges or external pressure. At the core of non-neediness is the understanding that true fulfillment comes from within. You are not waiting for someone else to complete you, and you are not dependent on external circumstances to define your happiness. You are in charge of your own emotional landscape. You create your own peace, joy, and contentment. This level of self-reliance is deeply empowering because it removes the need to seek validation from the outside world. Instead, you look inward, recognizing that your happiness is self-generated. In relationships, this self-sufficiency creates a foundation of trust and mutual respect. You are not seeking to control or change others. You allow them to be who they are, without imposing expectations or relying on them to meet your emotional needs. You offer love freely, without strings attached, and accept love in return without clinging to it. This balance of giving and receiving, without the pressure of neediness, creates a harmonious and healthy dynamic. Non-neediness is not about being detached or cold. Rather, it's the ability to engage with life and others from a place of inner strength and abundance. It's the freedom to be yourself, to choose your path, and to form connections without fear or desperation. It's this relaxed, self-assured energy that draws others in, creating a magnetic force that is both deeply attractive and profoundly empowering. Marcus Aurelius said, "Quiet confidence is a subtle but undeniable force. It is the assurance that comes from knowing who you are and where you stand." Marcus Aurelius said, without needing to announce it to the world, "This type of confidence is not loud or brash, but it is steady and unshakable." Aurelius said, "It emanates from a place of deep self-assurance, where your worth is not contingent on external validation or recognition." Marcus Aurelius said, "It doesn't demand attention or applause, instead an admiration through actions rather than words." Marcus Aurelius said, "A person with quiet confidence doesn't need to prove themselves or boast about their accomplishments." Marcus Aurelius understands that true confidence comes from within, not from others' opinions. Marcus Aurelius said, "They've built a solid foundation of self-respect and personal value, so they don't feel the need to seek validation. Their actions speak louder than any decoration could." Marcus Aurelius said, "And their presence alone conveys a sense of security and certainty that others find magnetic." Marcus Aurelius said, "This kind of confidence is rooted in humility, People with quiet confidence are secure in their abilities, Marcus Aurelius said, but they are not arrogant or prideful. They don't need to overshadow others or compete for attention. Instead, Marcus Aurelius said, they allow others to shine and support them when needed. They do not need to constantly remind others of it. Marcus Aurelius said their confidence is not about seeking superiority, but about a peaceful acceptance of who they are. Marcus Aurelius said, it is an understanding that there is no need to prove anything to anyone because their value is inherent. Marcus Aurelius said, not earned through external approval. Quiet can manifest in the way a person carries themselves. Marcus Aurelius said, there is an ease to their movements, a calm their posture, and a natural poise in their demeanor. Marcus Aurelius said, they are not stiff or self-conscious but comfortable in their own skin. They walk into a room not to dominate it. Marcus Aurelius said, but to fill it with a steady, unspoken presence can feel. Their body language is open and relaxed, Aurelius said, and they do not fidget or overcompensate for insecurities. Marcus Aurelius said, they don't need to seek attention through always stay speech. Instead, Marcus Aurelius said, their quiet confidence becomes evident through their ability to stay composed and grounded, no matter the situation. Marcus Aurelius said, this calm presence extends to how they handle jazz when faced with adversity or stress. Marcus Aurelius said, those with quiet confidence remain composed, not because they are unaffected, Marcus Aurelius, but because they trust in their ability to navigate through difficulty. Marcus Aurelius said, they are not easily rattled or thrown off challenges. They approach challenges with a level-headed mindset. Marcus Aurelius said, calmly assessing the situation and taking discipline necessary. They do not rush or panic. Marcus Aurelius said, but trust in their own capacity to figure things. This creates an air of reliability and stability that others find comforting. Marcus Aurelius said, people are drawn to quiet confidence because there is no need for external reassurance. In conversations, Marcus Aurelius said, a quietly confident person speaks with clarity and purpose, but do not dominate the dialogue. They listen attentively. Marcus Aurelius said, value others' input and contribute thoughtfully. Their words are meet, considered, not impulsive or reactive. Marcus Aurelius said, they don't need to talk for the sake of talking. They use their words carefully. Marcus Aurelius said, knowing that what they say has weight because it comes from a place of wisdom and experience. Marcus Aurelius said, there is no need for filler or pretension. Every warrior and they are comfortable with silence when it's needed. Marcus Aurelius said, quiet confidence also shines in how a person handles relationships. They are not clingy or needy, nor do they seek to control others. Marcus Aurelius said, they respect personal boundaries and allow space for themselves. They offer their support when needed. Marcus Aurelius said, but they don't try to fix everything or insert into every situation. Aurelius said, they understand that true relationships are mutual respect and trust, not on dependency or manipulation. Marcus Aurelius said, people with confidence don't feel threatened by the successes or talents of others. Marcus Aurelius said, they are secure in their own abilities and are comfortable with the idea that others have their strengths too. Marcus Aurelius said, this ability to remain calm and unaffected in the face achievements fosters an environment of collaboration. Marcus Aurelius said, not competition. What makes quiet confidence so grounded in authenticity? There is no pretense. Marcus Aurelius said, no performance. People with quiet confidence do not on a mask or try be something they are not. Marcus Aurelius said, they are genuine and true to themselves, and this authenticity is what makes them so attractive. Marcus Aurelius said, it's rare in a world that often celebrates novelty is about being present and engaged in the moment. Marcus trying to impress others or force an outcome. Marcus Aurelius said, it is a form of respect that does not rely on anyone else's opinion to maintain its foundation. Marcus Aurelius said, this type of confidence is also incredibly resilient. When you are wrong, those with quiet confidence do not crumble or fall apart. Marcus Aurelius said, "They take setbacks in stride, learning from them and without being thrown off course." Marcus Aurelius said, "They don't let failure define them, or let setbacks define if are worth. They accept mistakes as part of the process, but they do not dwell on them. Instead, they focus on moving forward." Marcus Aurelius said, "Knowing that their value is not tied to any moment or circumstance, the beauty of quiet confidence is that it's enduring." Marcus Aurelius said, "It does not fade in the face of challenges, nor rely on constant external praise to stay intact." Marcus Aurelius said, "It is an inner strength that holds steady regardless of all circumstances." Marcus Aurelius said, "People with quiet confidence stand firm in who. Because of that, they inspire others to do the same." Marcus Aurelius said, "They don't need to assert their presence or prove their worth. Self-assuredness is evident in the way they carry themselves and interact with the world." Marcus Aurelius said, "It is a gentle but powerful force that quietly demands rest, not through force or manipulation." Marcus Aurelius said, "But through the strength of knowing who they are and staying firm in that truth." Marcus Aurelius said, "Purpose-driven energy is a force that comes from a deep understanding of one's goals and values. It is the kind of energy that doesn't waver with minds of external circumstances, but instead remains steady, focused, Marcus, and determined. It's the clarity of knowing why you do what you do." Marcus Aurelius said, "And the passion that arises from aligning your cause with a meaningful cause." You people who embody purpose-driven energy are driven not by the tietades or external rewards, but by an internal compass that guides their every action. Marcus Aurelius said, "This energy is magnetic because it emanates from a source that is both powerful and authentic. The essence of purpose-driven energy is rooted in intention." Marcus Aurelius said, "It's the difference between simply going through the motions lightly, engaging with each moment with a sense of direction." Marcus said, "When you are driven by purpose, you know exactly what you make up every morning." Marcus Aurelius said, "You have a clear vision of what you are working toward, whether it's personal growth, contributing to a cause, or," Aurelius said, "or creating something that leaves a lasting impact. This clarity provides an energy that is sustainable and unwavering." Marcus Aurelius said, "Because it isn't dependent on external recognition as you cease. It's not about seeking approval," Marcus Aurelius said, "but about following a path that feels true to who you are at your core." People with purpose-driven energy do not shy away from challenges instead. They approach them with resilience and determination. Marcus Aurelius said, "Their sense of purpose is so strong that even in the face of adversity, when obstacles arise," Marcus Aurelius said, "they see them as opportunities to grow and refine their mission, rather than as reasons to give up." Marcus Aurelius said, "They are not easily deterred because they are not relying momentary motivation to get them through." Marcus Aurelius said, "They are driven by something deeper. This energy is like a wellspring that never runs dry." Marcus Aurelius said, "Because it is continually renewed by their unwavering connection to their purpose." One of the most remarkable aspects of purpose-driven energy is that it is contagious. Marcus Aurelius said, "When people witness someone who is genuinely driven by themselves, they cannot help but be inspired. This energy doesn't come across as forced or artificial." Marcus Aurelius said, "It is not about seeking validation or praise. It's about pursuing something that is meaningful, regardless of the external rewards. This kind of authenticity is rare, and it draws people in." Marcus Aurelius said, "It makes others want to align themselves with that energy, to be a part of something bigger than just themselves." Marcus Aurelius said, "Purpose-driven energy also fosters a sense not dependent on external outcomes." Marcus Aurelius said, "Many people chase after external achievements in hopes they will find happiness or satisfaction." Marcus Aurelius said, "But those driven by purpose understand that true freedom in alignment with their values." Marcus Aurelius said, "They are not consumed by the pursuit of material successes, They focus on creating value, making a difference, Marcus Aurelius said, and contributing to the greater good. This mindset allows to enjoy the journey, knowing that each step they take is contributing, meaningful. They are not looking for shortcuts or easy wise. Motivation is intrinsic, and they find satisfaction in the work itself, not just the outcome. When you operate with purpose-driven energy, Marcus Aurelius said, you naturally attract like-minded people who share your vision and values. Aurelius said, you become a beacon for those who are also seeking meaning in connection in their lives. This, Aurelius said, this type of energy has the ability to unite people and create a sense of community, because it is based on shared ideals and a collective sense of purpose. Marcus Aurelius said, you no longer feel isolated in your efforts, because that you are part of something bigger, Marcus Aurelius said, and that sense of belonging fuels your energy more. Moreover, purpose-driven energy cultivates a sense of inner peace. It's not about constantly striving for more, Marcus Aurelius said, but about finding satisfaction in knowing that you were meant to do. Marcus Aurelius said, people driven by purpose are often less affected by the fluctuations of the outside world. Marcus Aurelius said, they don't need to compare themselves to others for validation. They trust that by staying true to their purpose, Marcus Aurelius said, they are on the right path, and that trust gives them peace of mind. Their energy is grounded, not scattered, Marcus Aurelius said, because they are not chasing after everything that comes their way. Marcus Aurelius said, they know that their efforts are aligned with significance, and that knowledge keeps them steady, focused, Marcus Aurelius, and at ease. Purpose-driven energy is also so agility to change not only the individual who embodies it, Marcus Aurelius said, but also those around them. When you are driven by purpose, you inspire others to find their own sense of direction, Marcus Aurelius said. You encourage them to reflect on what truly matters to and to pursue their passions with the same dedication and determination. Marcus Aurelius said, you become a role model not through grand gestures, but through the quiet consistency of your actions. Marcus Aurelius said, your energy speaks louder than words, and it motivates action and live more intentionally. Finally, Marcus Aurelius said, purpose-driven energy creates resilience. In a world full of distractions and superficial pursuits, it is easy to become lost or discouraged. But when you are grounded in purpose, Marcus Aurelius said, you have a built-in resilience that helps you bounce back from setbacks. You don't see failure as a reflection of your worth, Marcus Aurelius said, but as a learning experience on the way to achieving greater. This resilience is not fueled by blind optimism, but by a deep, abiding trust in your mission. Marcus Aurelius said, you are not afraid to take risks or face change. Know that the purpose you are pursuing is worth every ounce of energy you invest. Marcus Aurelius said, people with purpose-driven energy are not easily swayed by the ups and downs of life. Marcus Aurelius said, they remain steady and focused because their energy should rely on ideal circumstances. Marcus Aurelius said, it is a quiet but powerful force that drives them, inspire others, and make a difference in the world. And that energy is what makes them truly magnetic. Marcus Aurelius said, self-respect and boundaries are fundamental in a life is both fulfilling and authentic. They are not just abstract concepts, Marcus Aurelius said, but practical tools that guide individuals' worth while navigating relationships and personal challenges. Marcus Aurelius said, to have self-respect means to honor your own values and to act in ways that reflect this regard. Boundaries, Marcus Aurelius said, on the other hand, are the limits you set to protect on mental well-being. Together, Marcus Aurelius said, they form a strong foundation upon which a person can build healthy relationships and lead a life of integrity and peace. Marcus Aurelius said, when a person has self-respect, they have an internal compass keeps them grounded in their worth. Marcus Aurelius said, this worth is not contingent on external validation or approval, but is recognized as inherent and unshakable. People who respect themselves understand their value, Marcus Aurelius said, and they do not compromise that value to appease fit in societal expectations. Marcus Aurelius said, they do not allow others to treat them poorly or take advantage. Their actions, words, Marcus Aurelius said, and decisions reflect a deep understanding of what they stand for. They don't look to others to define them, Marcus Aurelius, and they don't need constant affirmation to feel good about themselves. Instead, Marcus Aurelius said, they are guided by their inner sense of dignity, however, are the practical manifestation of self-respect. Marcus Aurelius said, they are the limits we establish to protect our from wanted, manipulated, or mistreated. Marcus Aurelius said, boundaries are not just about saying no to our whys, to ourselves. When we set clear and healthy boundaries, we communicate to the world that we value ourselves enough to protect our time, energy, and emotions. This is not about being rigid or selfish. Rather, Marcus Aurelius said, it is about acknowledging that our needs are just as important as anyone else's. Marcus Aurelius said, setting boundaries allows us to conserve our energy and things that truly matter. Marcus Aurelius said, whether that means dedicating time to personal growth, to meaningful relationships, or to the pursuits that align with our values. Marcus Aurelius said, for many people, setting boundaries can be challenging. There is no fear of rejection, confrontation, or disappointing others. Marcus Aurelius said, but the truth is that boundaries are not about punishing or putting up walls. Marcus Aurelius said, they are about creating healthy space for mutual respect. When we finally set boundaries, we invite others to take advantage of us. We may find ourselves drained, resentful, Marcus Aurelius said, or overwhelmed because we've allowed others to overstep our limits without standing up for ourselves. Marcus Aurelius said, but when we practice self-respect and establish boundaries, we create of safety and clarity. Marcus Aurelius said, we teach others how to treat us by modeling the reas for ourselves. Marcus Aurelius said, self-respect and boundaries also allow us to show up authentically in our relationships. Without them, Marcus Aurelius said, we may fall into patterns of people pleasing, key to the needs of others at the expense of our own. Marcus Aurelius said, this leads to emotional burnout and a sense of disconnection from our true selves. When we have self-respect, Aurelius said, we no longer feel the need to sacrifice our needs, their values, to gain approval. Marcus Aurelius said, we no longer feel compelled to say yes when we mean no. This doesn't mean we become selfish or neglectful of others, Marcus Aurelius said, but rather that we act out of genuine care, out of obligation or fear. Moreover, Marcus Aurelius said, self-respect and boundaries create a foundation for healthy, balanced relationships. Marcus Aurelius said, when both individuals in a relationship honor each other's and maintain self-respect. Aurelius said, there is space for mutual growth and support. There is no room for manipulation or codependency. Marcus Aurelius said, as both parties understand that their individual well is just important as the others. Marcus Aurelius said, relationships based on mutual respect and boundary, trust, and emotional safety. In these relationships, both individuals feel valued and heard, Marcus Aurelius said, and there is an unspoken understanding that each is to be their authentic self without fear of being controlled, judged, Aurelius said, or diminished. Having self-respect also means fully including our flaws, mistakes, and imperfections. Marcus Aurelius said, it is about understanding that we are worthy of love when we fall short of our own expectations or those of others. Self-respect is not about perfection, Marcus Aurelius said. It is about embracing our humanity and acting in ways that reflect our commitment to personal growth. It means forgiving ourselves when we make mistakes, learning from them, Aurelius said, and using those lessons to evolve into better selves. This self-compassion, paired with clear boundaries, allows us to move through life with grace and integrity. On a deeper level, Marcus Aurelius said, Self-respect and boundaries also serve as a form of love. They reflect our commitment to our own well-being and happiness. Marcus Aurelius said, "When we respect ourselves, we choose to engage in relativities and environments that nourish our soul." Marcus Aurelius said, "Rather than deplete it, we no longer allow alignments or draining people to take up space in our lives. Instead, we create a life that is aligned with our values, purpose. Marcus Aurelius said, "Knowing that we deserve nothing less than to absolutely and joyfully." Marcus Aurelius said, "Self-respect and boundaries also protect us from reliant on external sources of validation." Marcus Aurelius said, "In a world where social media, cultural standards, and external press often dictate how we should look, act, or feel, having self-respect allows us to stand firm in our own truth." Marcus Aurelius said, "It enables us to embrace our uniqueness and make choices that reflect our true selves, not what others expect from us." Marcus Aurelius, with clear boundaries, we can say no to things that drain energy or distract us from our true path, and we can say yes to the opportunities and relationships that nourish us. In the end, Marcus Aurelius said, "Self-respect and boundaries are integral to life, authentic, fulfilling, and balanced." Marcus Aurelius said, "They allow us to preserve our dignity, maintain our emotional health, and protect our personal values." Marcus Aurelius said, "They empower us to make choices that reflect our worth, choose in relationships that are grounded in mutual respect." Marcus Aurelius said, "And to live in alignment with our true selves." When we honor ourselves in this way, Marcus Aurelius said, we not only create a stronger sense of personal integrity, but also an environment in which respect, trust, and love can truly thrive. Marcus Aurelius said, "Gratitude without attachment is the practice of what we have the present moment without becoming overly dependent on it or fixated on it." Marcus Aurelius said, "It is a state of thankfulness that is not contingent on circumstances, outs, or expectations." Marcus Aurelius said, "Instead of holding on to gratitude as a way of clung or hoping for a reward." Marcus Aurelius said, "Gratitude without attachment allows us to enjoy the life fully while also acknowledging that nothing is permanent." Marcus Aurelius said, "It is a deep awareness that everything is arises from an understanding that what we have is fleeting." Marcus Aurelius said, "But our ability to appreciate it is something we control in a world that often emphasizes accumulation, achievement, and ownership. The idea of experiencing gratitude with attachment can seem counterintuitive." Marcus Aurelius said, "We are conditioned to value things for what it is: material wealth, relationships, status, or success." Marcus Aurelius said, "However, when we tie our gratitude to these external, we are at the mercy of their impermanence." Marcus Aurelius said, "Our appreciation of them becomes conditional, they laws or how much they continue to provide us." Marcus Aurelius said, "This kind of gratitude can easily lead to fulfillment when we inevitably face change, loss," Aurelius said, "or uncertainty. But when we learn to practice gratitude without attachment," Marcus Aurelius said, "we free ourselves from this cycle of dependency and begin to cultivate a deeper, more enduring sense of contentment." Marcus Aurelius said, "Gratitude without attachment allows us to experience in the present moment without trying to cling to that joy. It's the ability to appreciate the beauty of sunset, the warmth of a hug," Marcus Aurelius said, "or the kindness of a stranger without feeling the need to it or make it last forever." Marcus Aurelius said, "We are able to savor these moments fully, knowing that they are precious and unique." Marcus Aurelius said, "But also understanding that they are part of the natural flow of life." In this sense, a gratitude becomes less about acquiring or possessing things, Marcus Aurelius said, and more about the simple act of noticing and appreciating what is already present. Marcus said, "This kind of gratitude is not about dismissing the challenge or difficulties in life," Marcus Aurelius said, "but rather about recognizing that even in adverse appreciation, by cultivating gratitude without attachment." Marcus Aurelius said, we are able to find value and meaning in every experience, those that are uncomfortable or difficult. Marcus Aurelius said, "We can be grateful for the lessons that hardship provides, for the growth that comes from facing adversity, and for the resilience we develop in the process." Marcus Aurelius said, "This perspective helps us avoid becoming disposed. We understand that all experiences," Marcus Aurelius said, "whether good or bad, are temporary and part of a larger process on evolution." Marcus Aurelius said, "One of the key aspects of gratitude without end is that we do not own or control the outcomes of our lives." Marcus Aurelius said, "We cannot dictate what will happen in the future, or trying to do so only creates frustration. Instead, Marcus, by embracing the present moment with an open heart," Marcus Aurelius said, "we allow ourselves to experience the fullness of life without the pressure to hold on to it." Marcus, this practice invites us to let go of the desire to accept life as it comes. We appreciate what is before us, Marcus Aurelius said, and we accept that what is here now may not remain, but that does not diminish its value. Marcus Aurelius said, "Gratitude without attachment is also about learning to release the need for external validation. In many cases," Marcus Aurelius said, "we tie our gratitude to the approval of others or the recognition of our achievements. When we receive praise or acknowledgement," Marcus Aurelius said, "but when it is withheld, we may feel inappreciated or discouraged." Marcus Aurelius said, "This kind of gratitude is contingent on external cause." When we practice gratitude without attachment, Marcus Aurelius said, we begin to appreciate the things that are meaning to regardless of whether others recognize or value them in the same way. Marcus Aurelius said, "This shift allows us to cultivate a deeper sense of self-fulfillment that is not dependent on the opinions or actions of others." Marcus Aurelius said, "Furthermore, this form of gratitude encourages us to live in the present rather than constantly seeking future outcomes. Many people live in a state of perpetual anticipation," Marcus Aurelius said, "always waiting for something better to happen or for the next milestone to be reached." Aurelius said, "This future-oriented mindset can prevent us from appreciating the present moment." Marcus Aurelius said, "When we practice gratitude without attachment, we learn to embrace the now." Marcus Aurelius said, "We no longer wait for external circumstances to cure we feel grateful. Instead," Marcus Aurelius said, "we cultivate a sense of thankfulness for the regardless of where we are or what we have." In relationships, Marcus Aurelius said, "Gratitude without attachment means appreciating the people in our lives while expecting them to behave in a certain way or fulfill specific roles." Marcus Aurelius said, "It's about recognizing the value of those connections and they are, rather than for what they give us." Marcus Aurelius said, "We can be grateful for the love, support, and care we receive, but we also understand that people change, relationships evolve, and circumstances shift." Marcus Aurelius said, "This understanding allows us to release any unhealthy expectations or requirements to how others should behave." Marcus Aurelius said, which in turn fosters healthier, more balanced relations, also helps us develop emotional resilience. Marcus Aurelius said, "By becoming less attached to outcomes, we become more flexible and adaptable to life's twists and turns." Marcus Aurelius said, "Instead of resisting change or clinging to what we learn, flow with life's natural rhythm." Marcus Aurelius' resilience allows us to face challenges with a sense of calm and grace. Marcus Aurelius said, "Knowing that nothing is permanent and that we have that to handle whatever comes our way." Gratitude without attachment creates a space for peace and freedom. Marcus Aurelius said, "It frees us from the anxiety of needing things or the fear of losing what we have." Aurelius said, "It invites us to appreciate life as it is, rather than we hope it will be." When we live with this kind of gratitude, Marcus Aurelius said, we stop seeking to control or hold on to fleeting moments. We embrace the beauty of life's impermanence. In doing so, Marcus Aurelius said, we unlock a deeper, more enduring sense of erasing in gratitude without attachment. We free ourselves from the constant cycle of desire and expectation. Marcus Aurelius said, allowing us to fully appreciate the present moment for what it is. We no longer need to cling to what is fleeting. Marcus Aurelius said, because we understand that everything, whether it is joy or sorrow, is part of the ever-changing flow of life. By practicing this form of gratitude, we learn to live greater peace, resilience, and authenticity. Marcus Aurelius said, knowing that the true richness of life lies not in what we hold on to, Marcus said, but in our ability to embrace each moment with an assurance of appreciation. So, Marcus Aurelius said, let us choose to be grateful for what we have, without the outcome, and in doing so, and cultivate a life filled with deeper meaning, freedom, and joy.